Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping video. This is for the week of January 19th through the 25th, and I used leftovers this week. So the second round of leftovers in 2026. So this is art by Kitnish Jess, and the kit is by Cinderella Paper, and I had a lot of full box options left over because of how Cinderella Paper included a lot of different fashion options. I really loved the diversity of people in this kit. Specifically this art set, but also just a reminder to shop owners that like both Kitnish Jess and I believe Clip Art Kits as well have like these a la carte like people sets in their shops that you can kind of like customize to fit whatever art set you're using. So I know it's a lot of work to design kits. However, I do think sometimes some shops are like, well, there weren't diverse people in the art set, so therefore I can't have diverse art or people in the kit. And I'm like, no, there are options out there for you, especially if you're using two of the most common artists in the planner clip art community. So I'm digressing, but I just wanted to put that out there. Yes, this art set was particularly fantastic for diversity, but there are still options even if there aren't fashion people or a lot of different types of fashion people in the art set. So I'm just setting up my sidebar right away. It didn't rain this week, but it was incredibly foggy and sort of depressing. We'll talk about that a little bit. And also, I didn't play any board games this week, but those were both things that happened the next week. And I didn't want to move the kit I was using for January 26th because that was my cat's anniversary with us. So I used a cat themed kit. So I didn't want to like move those around, so therefore I just used it this week. Plus, I didn't know when else I was going to use this kit this year, and if I wait to time it exactly when the weather lines up, it's never going to be perfectly lined up, so that is just fine. But I absolutely love this double box in the sidebar. That outfit, that person, just gorgeous. And even if it didn't rain this week, it was kind of misty at points, not so much that you would need an umbrella, but yeah. The colors of this kit were very appropriate for the week, I thought. So I actually ended up saving a couple of the pattern boxes, so I still had full boxes left over even after using this kit twice. So you'll see me pull those into the next week because both kits had purple tones in them. Purple's not really my color, even though my nails are that color right now. These are nails that I had from a set that my sister gave me, and we were going to a Kings game, and so that's basketball if you're not familiar. And their colors are like royal purple, white, and black. So that's why I did those nails. I'm not very into purple though. It's not my preferred color. That's fine if it's yours, it's just not mine. But I did use quite a bit of purple in January, and I feel like, oh my God, the cats are fighting. Pardon the interruption. It's the time of day where the cats wake up from sleeping all day and are like, you know, it would be fun if we pissed each other off. And I'm like, that, you have an interesting definition of fun, but okay. Anyway, I think I was saying that normally if I use purple kits, I feel like I use them in January. It just seems to match the tone of the month. I did have to pull in leftovers from my leftover collection for my sidebar. So the habit tracker is for flossing, and then the this week sticker is for dinners. My husband made a homemade lasagna on Monday because we both had the day off that day, and it turned out really fantastic. And I forget if we froze some of it. I don't know, we were eating it for a while. He even handmade the noodles because he likes making pasta. So that was good. The rest of the meals this week were pretty standard. We went out for sushi on Friday though, so that was nice. So yeah, like I said, I had lots of stuff left over from the first time I used this kit. I think I used it at the end of January last year as well. So yeah, very purple stuff going on in January, I guess, in my mind. And as far as things that went on this week, I don't know, this was kind of a tough week, both for me individually, and then there were a lot of things happening in the news that are really sad. So there's that. I'm not going to really touch on them that much, but I did mark them in my planner, but I didn't really know what to write in those spaces because of how horrible the things that happened were. I'm like, I don't even know what to write in my planner for this. So I'm just going to put the sticker down and maybe later I'll figure out what I'm even trying to say by putting those stickers down. It started with Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So we did both have that day off, my husband and I, because we both work public sector jobs. My parents' anniversary was that day. And Clover did me the kind service of waking me up at 4 in the morning because she just had to play with my hair. So that was a fun way to start off the day. And then I ended up playing with the cats once it was a normal time to be awake because they had a stupid amount of energy like they do right now. I wish they could figure out how to play with each other better, but by the time Evie accepted Clover into our lives, which took a minute. Can you stop trying to hurt each other? Sorry again. Yeah, by the time Evie finally accepted Clover into our lives, Clover had just been through a lot and she just spooks easily. Honestly, she always has. We always talk about how one time when my husband was like chasing her around when she was a teeny tiny little kitten, he unintentionally cornered her and she like exploded. But what I mean by that is like her fur just went, she turned into a pufferfish. So she's always been kind of startled easily. She's a very friendly little cat, but like she hears one wrong noise and she's just like, ah. So Evie kind of takes advantage of that because she is kind of sadistic and is like, oh, you're scared? I'm not scared of you anymore. Anyway, that's too much information about my cats. So let's get into the day by day. I already mentioned all of the things that took place on Monday. I have a script from Magical Sticker Co. for the holiday. I don't even know if it's worth mentioning where the stickers are from because most of the stickers I use are from shops that either are closed or are versions of stickers that they no longer sell. So like I have a lot of Sweet Eva's Paper who is reformatting like all her stickers. So most of the ones that I have are not for sale anymore. I have a lot of Itty Bitty Sticker Co. That's the dilute calico cat that you'll see, and she's not currently open. And then that's about it. I just have a lot of, if it's a unique sticker, I'll mention it. Or if it's a sticker that you can actually buy, how about that? I'll mention it. So that takes us through the first part of Monday. We went on like kind of like a bookstore cafe crawl this day, my husband and I. So I had gift cards to multiple bookstores. So I got a bunch of books this day, which was nice. The first stop was Wild Sisters, which is kind of a smaller bookstore here. Kind of a mix of new books, older or used books. They do a lot of community events, which is really cool. So I got one book there. I ended up picking up Beach Read. They don't usually have a lot of books that I want to buy either because like the books they have I already own or they're just not what I'm looking for. They also have like a big like kids area, which is really nice if you have kids. And then we also went to Time Tested Books, which is an older bookstore here in town. It's been around for a few decades and it's huge and they sell new and used books and then also records and other forms of media as well. So I ended up picking up like 3 books from there because I had like a $50 gift card. So yeah, I'll be working my way through those. I was kind of out of new books to read. So I'm like, I really need to use these gift cards that I have and get some new stuff in my inventory. And then we went to Cafe Immortal, which is a metal, like rock metal themed cafe here in town. My husband really likes them. I got a rosemary cappuccino and it was really nice. And then we split a breakfast sandwich because that's what my husband really likes from them. So yes, it's the only place that I've seen my husband actually sign up for the rewards program. Like he is not the type of person who signs up for a rewards program, but they know him. So that was nice to see one of his favorite places. And then we went to the art supply store and then also did a Target drive up for groceries. And at the art supply store, so let me know if you have Blick art materials where you are. That's where we went. Probably another place where my husband has a rewards account set up, but the cashier was wondering where my husband's phone number was from, and they got to chatting about Orange County, and it turns out they're from the same place, and now they're both up here, which is really funny. Then we came home, just relaxed, and I ended the day by watching Great British Bake Off. Tuesday at 2 a.m., I woke up in a panic, like my brain was just being mean to me because I knew it was going to be foggy on my commute, and the week before it had been really bad driving in it, and I was just starting to panic and like low-key was about to like call in sick or something, or figure out a way to like move class online at the last minute. But I ended up going in. It wasn't as bad as it was the week before, so that was fine. But yeah, I was just like really panicking because I'm just like, I just don't feel safe driving in it. And like those fears are justified because not here, but like especially in Central and Southern California this winter, there's been a lot of really bad crashes on the freeways. And here, not so much because I think people drive better in it and they're more careful. But yeah, down south, people are a little crazier of drivers. But yeah, so I went and taught my classes, came home and did some yoga, played just with Clover because she was hyper again, watched Great British Bake Off, and then Clover was really cute this day. So she was really purry, which is not typical for her, although in the wintertime it's more typical. And she really wanted chin scratches, and she's so cute. So did that. Wednesday, the sun didn't come out at all. So it wasn't like foggy, but it was just very overcast the entire day. What's been happening this winter is that when it's foggy in the morning, it usually gets sunny in the afternoon, but this day it was just like flat out overcast all day, so a little glum. Did more yoga. I voiced over my first Puerto Rico plan with me, so that was my first plan with me in this planner, so that was fun. And then I started my second week of the year, our second week in Puerto Rico as well. And then my husband had a late meeting this day, like a late community meeting. So I marked that with this cute bat sticker from Sweet Ava's paper. I don't know why. I just thought it was funny to mark his meeting with this little like monocle guy. And then the new season of Queer Eye came out on Netflix this night. So these Pride Progress flags, you can get them from Corks and Corks Co. And they're drawn by Laurel, which is fantastic. I like begrudgingly watched the new season of Queer Eye because after, let me know if you're aware of all of the tea with the show Queer Eye. Bobby, that whole situation screams Mean Girls to me. And so the only person who I can take seriously on the show in this last season is Jeremiah because he wasn't involved in all of that and seemed to still be a normal human being. But the rest of them, it kind of like makes me feel better about the thesis of the show, which is like, oh, we all just need to like talk out our problems and then we'll solve racism and we'll solve bigotry. And I've always kind of been like, yeah, it's not that simple, but okay. And so just knowing that a bunch of these people who are on the show are like the cast of the show are not practicing what they preach, even in their interpersonal relationships with each other, kind of makes me feel better. But I did think it was a good season as far as like the people who they helped, like especially the first episode where these two sisters who were older and oh my god, they were darling. One of them unfortunately just recently lost her partner of like 40 years, and then the other one lost her son, her adult son, like in the last 10 years, and they were trying to figure out like how to live together and how to like they're used to living in their own households and now they're combining households, and there's some tensions with that. So I thought they were just so darling and they were so supportive of the guys as well. So I watch it for the people who are like, not the contestants, but like the people they help on the show, not so much for the personalities of the team, because for some reason a bunch of them are really kind of up their own. Anyway, so moving on, Thursday. I hope you enjoyed my little Queer Eye on Netflix rant. Thursday, more dense fog, so that was meh. Taught again, lesson planned, and then I'm not going to get into what happened on Thursday. If you remember the news from this week, you remember everything that happened. Not good stuff, but I marked that. My husband had brought me home a banh mi from the community meeting the night before, so I had that for lunch, which was very nice. I love banh mi's. And then I finished my Puerto Rico plan with me. It was a nice sunny afternoon, and then I finished the latest season of Queer Eye and put it to bed. And the ending of it, this is the last season, the ending of it did not impact me at all because I'm just like, yeah, I think maybe it's time for these people to go their separate ways. Because then there was all this other drama that came out like right after the season aired, and I'm just like, yo, you all need to mature. I don't know what this is about. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that. If you don't, completely fine. You don't need to concern yourself with it. And then I played with Clover at the end of Thursday. Friday. My husband worked from home. There was more dense fog, and then this was the first day of classes at another campus where I teach. So I marked that. I'm not gonna talk about what the file folder is for just yet because I don't have any updates just yet. But then we did go out for a date to one of our favorite local sushi restaurants. And so that sushi roll is from Bunny Bear Plans, and I'm not sure, I know where the night script is from, but like that shop is definitely not open anymore. And then I watched more Great British Bake Off. Saturday, I marked that it was sunny. I marked that I posted my first Puerto Rico week to Instagram. So that sticker that you're going to see is from Papershire. Also did laundry. That sticker is going to be from Corks and Corks Co. And then I used a Once More with Love RIP Munchkin because you would probably remember what happened this day, and it's awful, and it's really making me nervous about the state of this country, quite frankly. I did remove my nails, and I did read, watched Great British Bake Off, and then I was just feeling really restless this night. I think it was more for personal reasons than anything, but I have to imagine the news events in this country from this week were probably contributing to that as well. So I marked that with a corgi sticker from Corks and Corks Co. I don't feel like that sticker fully represents what I was feeling. I was feeling more anxious than like loopy, but whatever. Sunday, I did have cramps. That was probably part of why I was feeling restless. Clover was being really cute though and wanted chin scratches. I ended up spending a good chunk of the day in bed just watching YouTube, so I'm going to mark that with a sticker from Corks and Corks Co. And then I finished the book I was reading this week, which was called The Gangster We Are All Looking For. And I'm reading like a lot of refugee fiction right now. So this is about Vietnamese refugees from, the Vietnam War. So it's kind of it's not autobiographical, like it's the author kind of putting her experience into a fictional narrative that's pretty close to her own experience. So yeah, they, I think, are in San Diego for most of the story. So a lot of trauma, a lot of lessons to be learned from that. I tend to read a lot of really dark fiction. So that's generally what I prefer reading just because it like scratches more of the literary itch for me. But honestly, there's other people in this country who really need to read more of that type of stuff, or just read it all, quite frankly, because I don't see how they have no empathy. Or there's this new subset of people, let me know if you've heard about this, who think empathy is a bad thing. What? Yeah, they're lost. Anyway, I would recommend that book. And then one of my sister's friends came over. I feel like we're just adopting him as our little brother. And my husband was painting Warhammer minifigures with him. Let me know if you have anyone in your life who's into Warhammer. I don't participate in it. I just look at the things and go, oh, that's very small and very painted well. Or, whatever the proper English grammar is for that. But Dylan also feeds cats in the community. So I had some food that I was meaning to take to the animal shelter. I just hadn't yet. It was a flavor that Clover used to really love, but then she got sick and she hated it. So it was about to expire in a few months. So I just sent it home with him. And then I worked on my junk journal. I watched Great British Bake Off, and then I played with Clover. So that is everything for this week. Not the most interesting week other than the bookstore crawl. I mean, I recommend if you live in a town or a city where like you have multiple bookstores, just like go on a day browsing all of them. Of course, like if you're into reading, which if you're not, that's totally fine. I do think the internet focuses too much on like the quantity of books rather than the quality. So focus on the quality if you're going to do anything. Have a good week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.